Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Reading from Srimad-bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 10, Departure of Lord Krishna for Dwarka, text 1. Shonakuvacha. Can't do this. Atva svarikta sprida attatayino Yudhishthiro dharma vritam varista Sahanujay pratyavaruda bhojana Katam pravritta kim akarasittata. Sonaka Muni said, after killing his enemies who desired to usurp his rightful inheritance, how did the greatest of all religious men, Maharaj Yudhishthira, assisted by his brothers, rule his subjects? Surely he could not freely enjoy his kingdom with unrestricted consciousness. Purport. Maharaj Yudhishthira was the greatest of all men of religion, thus he was not at all inclined to fight with his cousins for the sake of enjoying the kingdom. He fought for the right cause because the kingdom of Hastinapur was his rightful inheritance, and his cousins wanted to usurp it for themselves. He fought therefore for the right cause under the guidance of Lord Sri Krishna, but he could not enjoy the results of his victory because his cousins were all killed in the fight. He therefore ruled over the kingdom as a matter of duty, assisted by his younger brothers. Inquiry was important for Sonaka Rishi, who wanted to know about the behavior of Maharaj Yudhishthira when he was at ease to enjoy the kingdom. Om Jnanatimirandasya Kinandana Salakya Chakshuramitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Maharaj Yudhishthira was a most transcendental personality and completely attached to Krishna. He had no interest in this world other than the interest of Krishna. So it's kind of astonishing to see that a personality like Maharaj Pariksit was apparently affected by family attachment. It's bewildering. Here we see how did the greatest of all religious men, Maharaj Yudhishthira, assisted by his brothers, rule his subjects. Surely he could not freely enjoy his kingdom with unrestricted consciousness. And instead, but he could not enjoy the results of his victory because his cousins were all killed in the fight. But why was he seeing any relationship with his cousins at all? If he was a transcendental personality, didn't he understand thoroughly that two souls come together only for a moment, that are like two straws floating together in a river and then separated by the influence of time? So how was it that such a great pure devotee was concerned about these kind of things? Isn't a pure devotee transcendental? We see that Maharaj Yudhishthira here shows that he cared for his cousins, had an attachment to them, and we also see it in the case when Dhritarashtra was quitting home, that Dhritarashtra just left after Vidura came and sort of said, how can you live like a dog in the house of Bhima, who's killed all your sons? So in this way, Dhritarashtra would continue to stay in the palace even after the battle of Kurukshetra, and was protected by the Pandavas, even although he had lost. And they just kept him in some form of royalty. He's still seated on a throne, he was still getting all the servants and everything. But Vidura cut him to pieces, and then Dhritarashtra left, and then The next morning he was missing, and Yudhishthira was all upset because Dhritarashtra was the one who brought them up. So again, Yudhishthira bewilders us for his family affection. So, but maybe it is not that there's something lacking in Yudhishthira, maybe there's something lacking in our understanding of what pure devotional service is. And that family affection is a natural thing. We are naturally affectionate. Even when we become transcendental, doesn't mean that we don't lose our affection. It is said that the Supreme Lord is completely impartial. He is simply responding, Ye yatamam papadinte tam statayra bhajamyaham, as one, according to one's surrender, as one worships me. But the devotee is always partial. The devotee is always having some special feelings for someone. Oh, this one I want to give the mercy. That one. Of course, wants to give the mercy to all, but still, devotees adopt a particular person, somehow or other. This one, I mean, this bum, why would you give him the mercy? No. It's got to be this one. This is the one I'm going to give the mercy. Huh? Yes. So that is because we are infinitesimal little spirit souls, and we naturally cannot see the unlimited, even if philosophically we can. We cannot actually perceive like that. By nature, we relate to a village. It's said, by nature, man is a villager. Even in our modern urban environment, we're still villagers because we have our own little micro village in the bigger city. Just our little circle of friends, and those we know. The rest we don't know, and they're just strangers. Some live in a bigger village and some in a smaller village, but so there's natural affection. Because we have seen people's struggles, we have seen sincerity. Even we can see some sincerity in a bum. And then, therefore, Yudhishthira Maharaj could see this whole battle was a very unfortunate situation. He wasn't happy about it. It wasn't good, He got rid of a few troublemakers and nice, we got a better world for it, so well done, as they say in Dutch, opgeruimd staat netjes. Nothing like that, No, because Yudhishthira was compassionate, he saw good qualities in everyone. Therefore, even in all those who were killed, it wasn't black and white. They were not all just like huge demons, that they were just somehow or other caught. Some people, last minute, they came to fight for Yudhishthira, but then somehow or other, Duryodhana had arranged a very nice camp. And the army came overnight and stayed in that camp. And they said, oh, how nice, Yudhishthira arranged this nice camp for us. We're so indebted to him. Then later, the next morning, they found out it was Duryodhana. So then, in reciprocation, they fought on Duryodhana's side. So it was sort of like, it wasn't so black and white. Yudhishthira, of course, felt very aggrieved that 640 million people were killed for putting him on the throne. And it was only Bhishma Dev who, while lying on the bed of arrows, was able to change his mind. Not Krishna. Krishna came, but Yudhishthira still felt responsible. When Bhishma Dev explained, no, this is all you're seeing too much things are going on by our actions, and you don't understand that actually things are going on by the direction of time. There is a particular destiny going on in a particular time, and things are just going according to that, and there's nothing we can do about it, and we just sort of play our part in this thing that's already staged, right? And we think too much, we are the doer, and therefore we hope that we can bring things under our control and then squeeze out some happiness for ourselves. But that's not the case, because things are moving along according to the direction of time, and there is no hope that we can change the direction of time. So therefore Yudhisthira, it didn't make sense that he was taking so much responsibility for all these people who were killed, because it wasn't Yudhisthira anyway who fought because of his ambition, but it was rather Krishna who pushed the Pandavas into the war. It was Krishna who wanted it. It was Krishna who arranged it. It was Krishna who somehow or other made Duryodhana come to the palace that Mayadanava had built when Arjuna saved him from the forest fire. And then Mayadanava had, in exchange, created this palace which had many optical illusions in it. And Duryodhana came to the palace and he couldn't figure out. There was water and land, but with mirrors the whole thing was confusing and it wasn't clear where the water was, where the land was. And he made a mistake and stepped straight into the water, fell flat, lost his balance, fell flat to the water. And then all the ladies, they laughed, as ladies do. And they laughed, and Yudhisthira told them, admonished them. Yudhisthira was the one who told them, no, don't do this. But too late. Duryodhana was extremely angry, increased his anger. Krishna arranged everything. Krishna arranged the whole battle of Kurukshetra. Because it was all happening through his desire. So it was not right for Yudhisthira to take it upon his own head. So it is interesting to see that in the impersonalist realization, one cuts off all connections and one just doesn't care about anyone. But in personalism, one is fully realized and still has friendships, and still is taking personal interest in some living entity, in a human being, in a dog. We see Shivananda saying, this dog. Right? This dog somehow or other joined the party. The party was going from Bengal to Puri. And this dog started to follow them and wouldn't leave. Then Shivananda saying adopted a dog and was so attached to that dog that he paid money to take the dog across the river. And when the dog somehow or other went missing, he sent 10 men after it to find it. And in the end, that dog was found with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was feeding it coconut pulp. And immediately, Shivananda saying, offered his obeisances for all the possible offenses he would have made to that dog. Right? So even a dog, he even favored a dog. So that is Vaishnava. So personalists who can actually care for someone. So that is our movement. So it's not only about the relationship with Krishna. That is Nirvishesha Sunyavadi. Prabhupada came to destroy this impersonalism. And one time Kirtanananda was complaining and said, why are you preaching about impersonalism? when in the Western world? Isn't that more for India? You know, in India there are so many impersonalists, but here we deal more with atheism. Why preach against impersonalism? And Prabhupada said, you're saying that because you are an impersonalist. Right? So this impersonalism is very deeply penetrated in the world. We also see in the Chaitanya Charitamrita the astrologer, Sarvagya, the astrologer who knows everything and who is then explaining that to the north there is this black snake which devours, to the south wasps and drones, and towards the west there is a ghost. In the north the snake is the snake of mystic power. There the yogis are in the Himalayas. In the south it is the wasps and drones from Karma Kanda. And so many rituals which are only stinging you. And in the west is the ghost of impersonalism. So actually impersonalism is deeply rooted in the Western world. And so the West begins after India. Therefore China is in the far west. And Australia is also very west. So in this way we can think, yes. The east is in Bengal, right? It's like where the mercy of Lord Chaitanya is rising. That's the east. And after that, it's west. Anything further east from Bengal is actually far west. So this impersonalism is widely spread everywhere. And it affects our relationships. That's why we don't know how to be compassionate and kind. It's very difficult. It takes time to actually learn to be compassionate and kind. And thus we turn Krishna consciousness sometimes into something cold and impersonal, where we don't care about people. But Yudhisthira is very different. Yudhisthira was a Vaishnava through and through, Titiksava Karunika. He was tolerant, he was merciful, he had no enemies. So in this way, Yudhisthira was the perfect person. We see that story, and I'll end with that story. But we see that story that after so many years in the forest, after 12 years in the forest, the spies of Karna knew where the Pandavas were hiding in the forest, at least the area. So they said, let us go there and show off our glories. And they went with their army and took all the queens on elephants and went into the forest. But then, as they came to a particular place, and there was a Gandharva, and this Gandharva said, stop. And Duryodhana said, who are you to stop me? I'm not alone, look who's behind me. Gandharva said, look, I'm representing the Gandharva king, and nobody can pass through this area. So it became a huge fight, and so bad that the army was getting like a serious hiding, and they were losing badly. So the Pandavas nearby, Bhima was saying, look at this, great, check it out. They're doing us a favor, these Gandharvas, they're fixing up the Kurus. This is really first class. Then Yudhisthira says, no, Bhima, no. He said, amongst us, there may be a distinction between Kurus and Pandavas. But for the world, we are also Kurus. We're all from the same family. We're also Kurus. And these Gandharvas are attacking our family. They're attacking Duryodhana. We have to go and protect him. And Bhima goes, what? We have to go protect Duryodhana? I mean, you're not real, are you? Yudhisthira says, yes, we have to go and protect him. So, okay, the elder brother says, so everyone is thinking this is total madness. But anyway, we're going. So Arjuna is getting ready, let's go and protect Duryodhana. And then as they're about to go, Yudhisthira says, yes, you go, but I'm not going because I have to do some sacrifice here. So now it's even getting like, ooh, he's not going. But anyway, then the Gandharva, then Arjuna enters the fight, gets a huge fight, uses all the celestial weapons. The Gandharvas start losing. And so the Gandharvas, they capture Duryodhana, try to fly up in the sky with Duryodhana, and Arjuna makes a net of arrows in the sky. Shoots so many arrows so fast that it forms a net and they can't get through. So then Duryodhana says, put him down. Arjuna says, put him down. In this way Arjuna saves the life of Duryodhana. And that is showing the incredible, noble nature of Yudhisthira. And that he was just Dharmaraj, that he's always self-composed. See, Bhima was a devotee, but he was not always self-composed. So Bhima sometimes lost it, and sometimes his judgment was sometimes clouded. Although his intentions were pure and devotional, his intelligence was sometimes clouded, and therefore sometimes is inclined to act in a certain way that needed to be balanced. But Yudhisthira was just perfectly balanced, and all his actions are like that. It was very interesting. Therefore Yudhisthira, we must protect Duryodhana. So that's amazing. Alright, a little bit about the character of Yudhisthira, and who is then an example. We look at Yudhisthira and try to follow in his footsteps. That's how we overcome our lower nature that may affect our judgments, although we are basically of good intention. So like Bhima, we are all of good intention, but our judgment may sometimes become clouded, and therefore we live in community, and let the community of Vaishnavas balance us out. Because if we go by our own judgment, our own feelings, we may sometimes be bewildered, even although our intentions are to serve Krishna only. Any questions? Any comments? No questions, no comments. Then give it 10 seconds. Okay, thanks a lot. Grantaraj Srimad-bhagavatam ki jai.